Okay, so hello and welcome and good evening and afternoon. And wherever you are in the world, I'm happy to see you here again. Meet the facilitators session. Today we have two amazing facilitators, Rina Lavitt from Israel and Salmon Chow from Hong Kong. Both of them are a part of our master's group and facilitate one of our fusion workshops that we started. Actually, we're about to finish the first round of the workshops, and during September we will start the second round. So if you didn't participate in one of them yet, so you still have a chance to do it. And today we have 60 minutes to discover their inner world, professional path, and to ask some questions if you have any. The session is, as you see, it's recorded. So afterwards, you can see it in our tribe space. If you want to comment there to ask some more questions afterwards, and Rina and Salmon will also keep you posted in the chat. They will put their contact info in the end of the session. So if you have any questions, feel free. So before we will start, let's just take like 4 minutes to tune in into ourselves. I believe that it's, for most of us, it's like middle of the day somewhere. So feel free to take your glasses off if you want to stand up, to lay down, just to sit on the chair, whatever you feel that it's good for you now in your body. And we will meet here again for a nice discussion. Enjoy the music, and that's it.
In my heart there is a sky. In the sky there is a cloud. In the cloud there is some rain. Come and clean my heart, my pure, pure heart. In my soul I feel at home. In my home I feel the ground. In the ground I rest in peace. I let the wind clean up my pure, pure heart. On my path I walk and sing songs of grace, for I can see the sea inside of me. I dive deep and breathe pure infinity. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Come and clean my heart, my pure, pure heart. In my heart there is a clown. He knows how and when to make me shine. He sees my life in a simply way. He comes to clean my heart, my pure, pure heart. pure heart.
Thank you. Hope you liked it. It was Nathaniel, by the way. So if you want to hear it again, it's also in our tribe, in the space for where we have all the poses music, so it's there. Let's start. As I mentioned before, we have Rina and Salmon here, and it's an opportunity to hear from them about their professional path in points of view. Let's start with that, and then we will move to different kind of questions that will help us to understand how do you, both of you, creating workshops, especially points of view workshop, what leads you, what inspires you, and maybe we'll have some difficult questions also. And I also want to invite those who are with me here, the participants, to ask also some questions. If you have any dilemma about how to do things or something specific that you experienced during their workshop, anything, it's an open session for you. If it's easier for you, you can also write in the chat and I will read it for you if you have any issues with the mic. And that's it. So Rina and Salmon, whenever you are ready, just share with us briefly about your path, like what you're doing, where do you live, how you encounter with points of view in your life, where it leads you today. Feel free.
Lady first.
Okay, I can start. So about 2006-07, I was working in a big social company in Israel, and I was a team leader. And my boss went to his army training, and I supplemented him. And then he came back with a coaching game. No one knew what it was. He put it on the table, and he said, you know, a friend gave it to me. I'm not sure what to do with it. You have your team, play with it, try to see what's going on there. And I touched the package of those cards, and it was, wow, I've never seen something like this before. Amazing photos, words, the book. I was full with inspiration, what I can do with it. And I started to play and to do all kinds of meetings with it. And then a few years passed and I saw an ad running at my Facebook about a workshop with the 9 points of view at HQ. And I said, wow, it's the name of the cards. I wonder what it is. I never knew it was from Israel, nothing. I just came to Udim, to HQ. And there we're sitting, Efrat and Yaron, and telling their inspiring story about points of view and how they invented it. And then Yaron is telling that he went to the army, to his training, and he started to give around this amazing game to his friends, telling them, people, pay it forward. And then I understood that my package is from Yaron directly. And that started my path in points of view. I felt it was a sign, and I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that people are coming to my life for a certain reason, and things are coming to my life for certain reasons. And for the past 9 years, I work as a therapist and facilitating points of view academy workshops and other workshops. And cards for me are the basis of every workshop that I'm doing. And I'm always trying to involve more and more cards in my everyday one-by-one sessions, and everything I teach is dependent on our points of view processes. So this is the way I started, for me at least.
Wow, amazing. let me share my path with all of you. Back to 2014, at that moment, I was thinking to design a leadership program. And then at that moment, I was thinking how can I to engage the participants in my workshops? And then I searched from the internet, and suddenly I saw points of view, and I felt that those cards and those tools was very attractive because the colors and also those images very eye-catching. And then at that moment, I remember I ordered 2 sets of the coaching games. And then after that, I use it into my leadership program. And that moment, I just only for ice breaking. And then almost at the end of the program, I asked the participant to pick up 2 cards to represent what they have learned from my program. And then I was aware that they can talk a lot when they get those cards. And then I really found that this card points of view, it is amazing, just like a magic. And then 2 years later, 2016, and then at that moment, I was just thinking that this card should have more functions that I can use, and I can also apply it into different areas as well. And then I sent an email to POY HQ and asked them, will they provide any training programs? And they replied to me, yes, they provide 5-day training programs. And at that moment, the program is called Trainer Certification Program. And then finally, in 2016, I went to Poland to attend my first Points of View program. And I would say that in the Poland, it was a life-changing moment for me. Why I say so? Because before that, I have never facilitated any programs other than my mother tongue. But in 2016, I commit myself in one day, I should conduct workshop in English. That's why today I'm here to share my story to all of you.
Thank you, Salmon and Rina. Actually, both of you really uplift to the next question, because I will share with the participant behind the scene a bit, but why not? So when we are creating workshops and points of view, especially like the fusion ones, so we're doing very long process with the facilitators from the idea till the facilitation day. When creating the concept and doing some rehearsals and make sure that everything is wrapped. And there are lots of challenges in this creation part. One of them is really the language and the cultures and the fact that none of us, in a way, English is not our mother tongue. It's the second or third language, and suddenly we need to facilitate to international workshop, and how to deal with it. And I can tell you also with Rina and also with Salmon, in some point in their path, it was there, how can I take this opportunity and to leverage it and to facilitate something that is not in my language? And I would like maybe to hear some of your suggestions of how to do it, how to take this opportunity and to leverage it, and how to deal with this thing that, we are from different cultures. And in the end, we need to deliver and to be very precise in our instructions and to make sure that people understand us and to follow up and to do some interactions also. How to do it?
I think it's a very tough question. You said it will warm up, but
I'm sorry. It's a senior class. You're in the advanced class.
Yeah.
So.
In the advanced, I can see that. I think it's always a challenge for me. Each time I'm even for today, you said, okay, it's like a coffee with friends. Let's talk. We'll ask questions. And I said, I like coffee and I like friends, but what about that English side? And each time I'm dealing with myself I'm not sure it's about confidence. It's about, I'm always telling myself, am I as smart as I think in other languages than Hebrew? Because English is kind of a barrier. I don't speak English every day. It's for those occasions. And each time when I'm afraid about the English, I know again and again that it was never about that. It's like an inner excuse that I'm using in front of myself. I may be afraid of something else, or something else is worrying me, but I'm not really touching it. So I'm putting it, I don't know if I will be clear, if I'll have enough words. You know, sometimes I even realize that English is not my issue to talk. It's sometimes to understand. Because all of us, or most of us, sorry, Yvonne, it's not our really language. We're not used to it. And sometimes I'm feeling it's harder for me to understand someone else's English than to speak. So I think each time it's different. For me, it's also a leap of faith. I took this opportunity, even for the first conference that we did, Wings of Change, to deliver content in English, and even to participate in Points of View workshop. It's to bring myself also in English. And each time I feel more and more and more certain that it's not about the language. But thank you for putting it for me again on the table.
You're welcome.
Okay, let me share my story. I would say that after 2016, when I attend the first Points of View workshop, and I really love to connect to the people all over the world. And then at that moment, I need to improve my English. And then I grab every opportunity. For example, in our master group, at that moment, we almost have a meeting once a month. And then sometimes we also need to share some of our story and also our knowledge. And then I grab all the opportunities. Just treat it as a learning journey. And then I have a lot of opportunity to say it out. And then it also can help me to polish my English as well. Of course, every time when I facilitate the workshop, I prepared in advance. That means maybe in sometimes I write a lot of the scripts, what to say, what to ask, something like that. And then bit by bit, step by step, and then can help me to build up my confidence. Even though tonight, when Mayan asked me to attend this workshop, and then she just told me that I didn't need to prepare anything. Okay, just go for it. Go with the flow. I trust myself. That's it.
Both of you are so structured, and I know how difficult it is to let go and just to come and talk without preparation.
Very hard.
And,
you know, each time I'm writing a workshop for English, I'm first writing it in Hebrew. When I feel good about the structure and everything in Hebrew, I'll do the translation, because for the first time, it needs to work for me in my own language. So I'm doing the double work, but it's part of my preparation too.
I think it's a good tip for us when creating a workshop to do it first in your emotional language, in a way. The one that we know to express ourselves best, and then to translate it into the different languages and to, you know, and also even to ask a question. There are different kind of ways to ask question and to find the right wording for that. Thank you for sharing it. Actually, it's like really, it's interesting because we hear, I personally, I see it a lot. I also experience it also in my practicum when facilitating Points of View workshops, that suddenly you need to facilitate to people who don't understand your language and what to do. So thank you for, make us understand that it works, it can work, and everything's okay. And the tip for doing what you're doing, Rina, is very, very good one. And I want to ask you a bit about like your world of inspirations. Both of you quite different in the what inspires you and the topics that you bring. Rina, I don't know if you know Rina, but Rina is really, in a way, connected to her higher self. and bring like a very, in a way, spiritual, but very connected content. I think that you're working a lot with flow and as a tool that guides you. And the Salmon very connected to the corporate world in a way, very structured and bring theories and then uplift it to the points of view world in a creative way and connecting it to what we are doing. And I was wondering where you get the inspiration from. Is it from books, your daily work, people that you meet, all of the above, something else? What inspires you when you create a workshop?
Actually, I would say those inspiration, it came from my daily work and also the people I met as well. Because in Hong Kong, I already organized at least 40 or over points of view level 1 and 2 as well. And then I know most of the trainers and coaches as well. Therefore, I talked a lot with them, and then I got a lot of insight from them as well. For example, in the fusion workshop, I shared the communication style. And then because I love this topic and I got a lot of the theory from this topic as well. And then I just thinking how I can make this workshop into more interactive with the participants. And then I am aware that using points of view can really expand the people's mind. Therefore, I incorporate a lot of points of view tools in my daily work. Especially, I also use it in team building, leadership training, sales training as well. Therefore, most inspiration actually from different types of people and also from my work as well. This is my inspiration.
And in a way, you're also doing kind of market research to understand what they want, and according to that, you're creating it.
Yeah, exactly.
Great, thank you. How about you, Rina?
I think that my everyday inspiration is what's going on inside of me. And what kind of, I will call it pain, but you understand what I mean. What am I going through? What is touching me? What are my issues? And then I'm asking myself, okay, what can help me to go through it? What do I want to understand better? What inner research I'm doing with myself? And only when I feel that I got it, I'm asking myself, okay, does anyone else can benefit from my process? And all the workshops that I'm building are about that. A process that I did for myself, invented it for myself, and then I believe or I can feel that someone else can benefit from it. And I always say I have ADHD, I can't sit on one place, so I can't deliver workshop again and again and again. So each time I'm delivering it once, twice, I'm like, okay, before I will get bored, I need to invent something new. So everything comes in inspiration. I can talk with someone in my clinic and understand his issue. And I'm saying to myself, okay, this is repeating itself. I heard it, I heard it, I heard it. What can I do about it? And then the process is touching more people. And I think that always in my workshop, it's about the inner research that someone is doing with himself, but he can hear it from someone else and look at the mirrors from someone else. But always I think I'm building it for inner research, not as a team, because I don't come from the corporate world. I'm talking about what I can benefit by being near others or sharing, but it's my own process.
So in a way, it's kind of self-therapy to yourself.
Always. Yes. It's from my own pain, my own struggle, my own journey. And yes, I'm using a lot of techniques from the spiritual world. I work as a medium. I translate information. I deliver messages. And sometimes the ideas are coming from them. You know, I'm looking at the cards. And then the most important part, as we know, is which question will move me forward. And I don't have the question. So I'm asking the universe, show me a question that will move me. And then the process is like building itself, I can say. but I'm always testing it, not only on myself, because, okay, I know that I will have everything to do about the cards. Most of the time, it's my husband, who is like he's like the most engineer. He's not spiritual. He like, I love you, but please don't mess me with your cards and your things. And I know that you don't really believe it, but just ask yourself question, take the card. I will see if it's working. And that's the best he can do. He will ask himself the question. He will pull the cards. I will see that it's working. Enough is enough.
And how do you deal really with I assume that you had some challenges, both of you, even maybe all of us here had some challenges with the cynical participants or people that don't understand how to digest points of view cards and methods. And how do you deal with it, with these kind of participants?
I think that the most important thing that I took from points of view, and it's not my regular process, is to trust the process.
What do you mean?
Because yes, sometimes I'm afraid that it won't work, or okay, it's working for me, but if someone is not really getting it. And I learned through the years not to be afraid of it, or sometimes even to invite it to the room, because I think that sometimes people are not getting anything from the card, and they're afraid to say it because someone else is sharing, and this is very connected, and they have this ambiguous feelings, and they don't want to do with it. So the one that's there to say, it's not connected, I don't understand, what's the point? It's like a treasure hunt for me. Okay, you brought some energy, let's work with that. And I'm always telling myself, I'm not here to convince him that it's working. I'm here to let him go through the process, through everything he's bringing up. This is emotion. Mm-hmm. Not to feel connected is emotion. I want to be connected and I can't. Okay, this is my material as a facilitator. And I'm always going back to the card. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you see? What do you feel? What do you see? What do you feel? Until something happens. So this is for me, I guess.
A good way to deal with resistance also in the room.
And to remind myself that it serves the room. It's not against me. It's not about me, the resistance. It's important. Otherwise, I won't know he's resisting. He will go home and then nothing would happen to him. And I won't know that I missed him. So, okay, resistance is okay too.
Sounds very interesting. Salmon, do you have anything to add from your side? As one that works with lots of people in corporate world, and especially I think that in this field, that people don't have time, don't bullshit me. I need to go to my work, and how to deal with it.
Yes, indeed. When I deal with some engineer, because they are quite rational, and most of the time, I invite them be patient and just try to connect those tools as well. And I keep asking them some questions, just like, how did you feel when you look at those images, when you look at those cards? And then step by step, bit by bit, most of the participants, they can say something out from the card. And I also trying to ask them, be patient and try to connect with the card. And most of the time, the participant can get something from the card as well. This is what I observe from my participants.
Great. I must say that I think that this is very important for us when we're setting the expectation, also when we are starting a workshop, if it's face-to-face or online, whatever, really to say that for some, it's going to be really mind-blowing and life-changing and full of insight. And for others, it can be just 2 hours or 90 minutes a session that they did something different from their daily routine. Maybe they will finish it with a smile, and it's enough. And we have like this range of emotions that can be in the room, and it doesn't really matter what will be there. And as facilitators to hold it and to try to serve in the different ways that you shared with us right now. So thanks for that. I'm curious about how do you choose with which tool to work with? Actually, both of you also, Salmon, you in the Wings of Change conference, you had a full workshop also there. And also there you used flow, faces. Rina, you're using flow a lot, punctum, less the coaching game tool. And I'm curious if there is something that guides you in choosing the tool.
Okay, let me share first. Whatever, if my content is mainly about the people quality, most of the time I will choose the faces card. And then the other topics just like leadership, selling, coaching, team building. And then I will use flow, coaching game, punctum, and it works very well. That means whatever, if I only want to focus the content about the people's quality, personality, and then most of the time I just use faces. And then the other topics, I can use whatever, coaching game, punctum, flow, it works very well. This is how I decide which card I'm going to use. That's it. Right. It is so simple. Yeah.
I agree with Salmon. Sometimes it feels very easy. I think that for people, when I'm building a workshop for people who don't know points, I'm starting from the basic, from the coaching game, for punctum. For children, for example, I will work more with punctum than with other cards if they don't know how to read, or I don't want to make things more complicated. But as my participants are more mature with points of view and are using more the tools, I'm going to the more complex ones for faces, for flow. And I believe that especially faces is something that it's not a game that you take from the shelf and you know how to use it. You need guide, you need to understand, you need to feel more, you need instructions. So I'm always telling myself, if people are coming to my workshop, I want to give them something extra. So they will know tool that maybe they won't choose alone. And for me, maybe the biggest question is not only about the tool, is if I'm using it upside down or facing up. Again, if it's my first time with people, I will start with something small that they can choose, they can relate. Only later I will use something that is going to the subconscious parts.
Sounds very, very interesting. Even though that we have like a full let's say session about how to choose cards, if it's face up and face down, and the downside and upside for each way to choose. But it's also a very interesting tip, that to start with, like walking in a gallery.
Yes.
In a way that the cards are open, you can spread it in the room, and people just walking before even the session, the workshop starts. So they will understand that what behind the cards, if it's a tarot, if it's photos, if it's paintings, like how it looks like. So maybe to break the resistance even before.
It's about safe, to feel safe, to feel familiar, and to feel intrigued. I don't know what they're going to ask her, but I already know which card I want to take. Okay, so let's see where it's going. It's to bring something else to the room.
Great. I want to open the questions, for all of us here. So feel free if you have something to ask Salmon and Rina, or both of them, just unmute yourself. It can be about everything, I assume.
Everything is on the table.
Yes, please.
So it's your turn now.
I've got one. I just don't know if you can hear me without my headphones. So
it's a bit...
That's the room I'm in. Can you hear me now?
Right.
Yes. Oh, good. Sorry. It's because of the room is kind of acoustically badly done. I wanted to ask, since I'm a newcomer, I just started to use and play and enjoy points of view. And I just tried it out with my friend, just like a demonstrate. But of course, what happens usually, and I know it by my experience, that you get quickly to the emotions, like that we are there. That how to deal with that? Meaning that I appreciate it a lot. I just feel no, I'm not a god to, like work with emotions of the people, how to do that. There was this philosophy about like containing, but then like holding the space, but not telling what to do. It's like I'm having all that challenges about how to manage the process and not to hurt the person or not like to misuse the situation or like not to cause any troubles basically to the person. Because it's like opening up a very soft materia when you're working with emotions. And when I'm doing it with my friend, I can just like accompany a friend because then like it's a different story. But when there is a group, we open up people. I find it kind of challenging for me to manage that. I don't know how to. I know that the next levels, level 2 and 3, I think that might be pretty helpful with that. But perhaps you have some hints already about how you see it, how you do it, how you feel when things are happening, and how you manage holding the space and like not doing too much but doing enough, Yeah.
I can really understand your question. I think it's a very good one because always as facilitators, we are putting the cards, asking the question, and then we're waiting for something to happen in the group. And for most people, I think that people are dealing with themselves, thinking for their own, dealing with their emotions. But sometimes when they are brave enough to take it outside, they're sharing their story and they're bringing out their emotions. And sometimes they are bringing by their story others' emotions. And I think that the most important question for me is how comfortable I am with expressing emotions. Because if it's okay with me to laugh, to cry, to scream, to say whatever I need, so it's okay for me to hear it from the group. And I'm not sure it's about what to do with the emotion. It's to ask myself, is it serving this person? And what's going on to the group? Because I can sometimes see that other people are not comfortable with the emotions are coming up from one person, right? It's not only me. But when I'm delivering the message that it's okay, and we are here for that, the room is giving support, not only me. But the real question is what's going on inside of you? And where are you going when something emotional is coming up? What do I need to do? What do I need to say? Why do I need to answer? Do I bring tissue? Do I ask questions? Do I stop the process? Do I allow it? Or am I there just to ask what he needs from me right now? And by one-on-one, it's even a good question there. I can see that you're very emotional. Thank you for bringing that up. Is there something you need from me? Okay.
Salmon, would you like to add something?
And I agree with Rina that first of all, as a facilitator or as a therapy or as a coach, we need to feel comfortable to deal with those emotions with our participants. For example, even in my point of view, level 1 or level 2, some of the participants, they were quite emotional. It is because they don't have much time to deal with their inside. That means they don't have a lot of time to take care of themselves. Suddenly, when they work with those processes, they felt a lot of emotion inside, and then they need to talk it out as well. Therefore, and I think that this kind of the participants can also serve the group as well, because most of the participants, they have never to open up themselves in front of the people. Therefore, as a facilitator, first of all, we need to be comfortable with to deal with this kind of emotion. And second, we can make use of this kind of emotion as a learning process for the participant as well. Yeah, this is my sharing.
Thank you. I would just add something from our experience and points of view and how we hold different spaces worldwide. In online, it's a bit complicated because we cannot really feel all the, the mimics and the gestures that we have in a room. So it's a bit complicated and a bit for advanced, but in a real life, it's really dependent. You need to know to read the person from, the whole person, and not just what he says, but also what he or she are doing and how they react in the room. And us as facilitators, we have different kind of roles. One of them is really to contain it and even to be kind of a parent to the participant. Think about yourself, all of you here as a parents, that your kids can smash your cars and be rude and do so many things, but in the end of the day, you will still be their parents and will guide them. And you will not resign from this role because it's difficult. And we need to know to contain it and to accept them as they are. Because sometimes they're doing something in the room to get the attention, but sometimes that even they are not aware of it. So we need to know to accept it, and in that also to challenge them. As kids, I'm accepting you, even though you smashed my car and so on, and you took my coffee time now with my friends, and I want to do something else right now. But also to challenge them and to show them the way, to contain their feelings. And sometimes even us as facilitators, we are confronting them and do some things to make the emotion arise, to touch in these delicate places in responsibility. But for your question, and maybe, for beginners and for someone who just start the path, do small steps. And if sometimes you have some challenge with dealing with emotions, you can even ask the participant to take another card and to see how it expands the emotion or the feeling that they have, or even to open the book of if it's the coaching game or faces, or to see some guiding question there, or to read the story, to expand their point of view as participants, but also for you as facilitator. Sometimes it's really helpful that you see some question that it grounds you and you say, okay, this is something that can support my participant right now. So try to work with the whole package of the tool, not just the cards, and to be gentle with yourself also. Do the practicum, of level 1 and level 2, and this is the place to experience it. We are all the time push people to do the practicum, not because of the certificate in the end and the title, but really to experience and to enter lots of room and to see what can happen. That once you will do it in the real world and not with a friend, you will have the answer and you feel that you're polished as facilitator, as a tool.
And maybe it's also about the questions that we're using the cards for, because if I don't want to go somewhere deep, so I will ask lighter questions. I can choose the cards too and the questions about it, so I can make a process that maybe will be only positive or only very practical. I mean, you can work with it too.
I'd like to add something that...
Thank you, Anna, for the question. Digest it. Yes, Corinne.
It's related to the question that Anna has given. There is something I always do at the start. Is short, but what I call the frame, is the list of things that, okay, you are there, we are all together, being in transparency, but gentleness, be gentle with yourself as well, kind of rules. Just words that reassure people and ourselves, and just to confirm what you said before, but you know, the list of as a reminder that we are there, but it's gentle, it's transparent, it's authentic, and it's confidential, and you can be yourself and all the things, and that's very helpful. And at the end, I ask, everybody's okay? Raise your hands, you know, so people are committed to as well.
Thank you, Corinne, also for your interview. Any other questions? Feel free, we have time.
Hi. First of all, I wanted to say, as some of you might know, that my area of speciality is English as a second language, and all of you speak excellent English. And you're quite right, it's about communication. And it's not about this, as a native English person, I'm not listening for every single word. I'm listening for the content and the gist. And it's not about an accent or not an accent. It's all about communication. So I would say, stop trying to perfect the pronunciation and just enjoy the fact that you are communicating. Wherever I go, it's like, why do you all want to speak like the Queen? Just communicate. That's the most important thing. And my question to both professionals who are, you know, absolutely excellent is, you were talking about your process earlier on. So you think about where you want people to be and then work backwards, I guess. How does that affect your decision on how many questions? Is it 3 questions? Is it 5 questions? How many questions are too much? How do you decide on that? If you're thinking, I'm going to do this process, this is where I want them to be, I've got to work backwards now. When do you know it's too much or too little without trying it on people?
Wow. Thanks, Yvonne, first of all, for the faith of confidence and making me feel good about my English. I needed that. Thank you. I think that for me, I'm always thinking how well they will remember the flow of the process, because I always think about where they're starting from, what's going on, and the final question should close it. I work mostly with about 3 questions. I think that for most people, more than 5 is way too much. They don't remember the process. They don't know what's the difference between each question. Something can sometimes be too much. And sometimes I'm even cutting the processes. I will start with specific, for example, 2 questions. What I can talk about my workshop. I started with punctum and there was 1 question, and then we were in the room and switched cards. So I had 2 cards and a word, and that closed 1 process. Enough. And then something happened, and then we took 3 cards of flow. So for me, it wasn't 5-card session. It was 3 and 3. And people could understand what happened at the first round and what is happening for the second one. But I'm always thinking not to make things too complicated or confusing, and how the question should be really precise, short ones, less words, not only emotional, but really practical. So this is the way I think about building a process. And yes, I'm always testing it. It's never ends in my mind. Always, always, always testing it on more than 1 participant, and then I'm sure that it's working.
Thank you, Rina. From my side, first of all, I will think how I want my participants to learn from my workshop. That means what is the main ideas that I want my participants to take away after my workshop. Therefore, for example, in a 2 hours workshop, most of the time, I may only, for example, ask 3 questions. I think this is the maximum, because during the 2 hours workshop, we need to have a lot of time to interact with our participants. Otherwise, they may not really get those theory and also get those knowledge from our program as well. Therefore, as just Rina said, maybe maximum 3 questions in a 2 hour workshop. I think it is enough. I prefer using more time to interact with the participants, or even to ask the participant if they have any questions about the process. I think this is my philosophy. Thanks, Yvonne.
Yvonne, I think it really depends on how much time do you have also. And remember that less is more all the time. This is what we're saying. I can share with you that we had back then, long time ago when Corona started, we had one session that one of the masters also facilitated, 1 hour and a half session only with one question that repeat itself all the time, the same question. So there are so many ways to create insight and to do process. So it doesn't necessarily need to be with lots of words, lots of questions. It can be even one.
Well, thank you, because I do think that sometimes when you have clarity of thought, overloading with another question, that moment of clarity where you've got that inspiration can just go, just like that. So yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you. I shall take that with me when I'm trying to put my sessions together. Thank you.
Is there any questions that you want to ask? Because we still have time for like one or two. Yeah.
Hi. Hi, Salmon. Hi, Rina. I haven't been in your, well, with Salmon, yes, but I couldn't be in your, and the second time I hope to join. My question is more about yourself, about when that minute before jump to the arena, jump to the session, if you have any ritual about your intention, if you have something that you do in that minute before going to the stage, something that you use as a ritual to be on the focus on the stage.
I will start. First of all, I am very perfectionist. So most of the time, if I can, even night before the session, everything is ready. Even the cards on the floor, the candles are there. Then I know that I can be relaxed in the morning. Okay, so this is one tip for me. I'm always prepared ahead as much as I can. And just before people are coming and I have my 2 minutes with myself, it's always about very short meditation, connecting to the universe and asking to be like a channel. Whatever needs to happen, whatever needs to pass, I'm your tool, universe, guide me. And this is the best way I know to put myself aside, my fears, my thoughts, my personal things that I'm dealing with, and allowing myself to be as clean as I can, like a channel, that's all. Thank you for the question, it's an important one.
For me, if possible, I also prepare everything in advance, maybe 2 days before. Even though the PowerPoint or pause music, I will try it again and again because I really want to make sure everything is okay. And then on the stage, maybe before 1 hour, I would do also some mindfulness. And then during the mindfulness, I focus to ask myself, what is the purpose to facilitate this workshop? And then these questions help me to just focus the participants, not only myself. I just want to give myself all my best to serve my participants. I think it really helps me a lot to facilitate the workshop, in especially other than my mother tongue.
Thank you, Kike, for the important question. Heral, do you have any question? I saw that you mute yourself.
Yes, I was just about to ask a question, but I actually have to jump off in 2 minutes for another call, so I'll ask it very quickly. Thank you for sharing your wonderful insights, Rina and Salmon. It's been a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate it. I was just wondering what you do when participants are away doing their practice in a breakout room, how do you hold a space when you're alone for those number of minutes? Are there any tips you could share?
Do you mean that when I facilitate a workshop online or face-to-face?
Yes, or virtually when they're away and doing the process. How are you? What are you, just with yourself, or is there anything specific you do?
Mm-hmm. Okay, good questions. Before I put them into the breakout room, I may do some. I will set some expectation for my participants. I will share with them, I won't go to your breakout room, and then this is your time with your friends and your group as well. And then you can make use of this time and space to share with your friends. And then after that, I will also ask them, when they return to the main room, please feel free to share with me their insights and also their some takeaway to talk to their friends as well in the breakout room. This is what I did normally.
For me, it's my time to catch my breath, to organize my notes, to see that everything is working, to see that everyone in the room I'm watching, that no one fell, came in, came out. But mostly it's to breathe, to remind myself what I want to deliver next, to see that I know my material and stuff like that. If it's face-to-face, that I'm walking around, I'm seeing, I'm allowing them to ask questions, I'm involving to do small interactions. I like it more face-to-face, I have to admit. But I need the energy. I need to know that they're working and everything is okay. But it's really my time to sip of water, coffee, whatever, and to be prepared for the next stage.
Thank you.
Thank you also for your honesty, both of you. Sometimes we just need time for ourselves, to drink something. We're humans, it's okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Herald, for this question. We have like 2 minutes before we close this session. So last question that I want to ask both of you is if you have a golden tip for someone who wants to start creating a points of view workshop, what would it be?
Maybe I can share first. First of all, I really encourage all of you just try it for yourself first. It means that, for example, if I want to investigate about my communication style, I may use the tools to help me to understand myself first. And then if you can connect it with those tools, and then you can facilitate this workshop to the participants as well. And second, you may also ask or invite some of your best friends, and then you can organize a small workshop, and then just try to one day, for example, maybe 1 or 2 hours workshop, and then to collect their feedback. This is my tips for all of you. Thank you.
I think that my best tip is to be passionate about what you are delivering, the content you want to share, the process. It's like to be my own target audience. If I feel that it's helpful for me, I know it could have the potential to help others, and it makes me feel more comfortable and confident about the process. So if I don't believe in it, I won't deliver the content.
Thank you very much, Rina and Salmon, for your wisdom and for the path that you're doing with us, and for sharing everything with us, your secrets. I want to invite you to put on the chat your contact info, if it's your email or WhatsApp or whatever you feel like, how it suits you. So we can continue to stay in touch. And this recording will be in our tribe and also in YouTube, so you can go back to it, rewatch, and to share with some more people that maybe it will inspire them. Also, we have next, we have a short break from the fusion workshops, so we will meet during September, in mid-September. But meanwhile, we have other encounters. We have another one with Yaron next week. If you would like, he will facilitate from New York, actually, because he's about to facilitate another Turning Point program. So just stay in touch. You can see everything in our website and in our events space on our tribe. Thank you again for being here. And thank you, Rina and Salmon, for sharing with us your path and your wisdom. And have a great day. I hope you enjoyed like I did. And it wasn't that bad, even though, you know, we didn't prepare. The English is not polished. We're friends, we're community, all good. Let's bond and connect from our hearts. So thank you again. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Salmon. What an amazing experience.
Thank you, Rina. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.